Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Thursday live stream. So we got a lot of things to go over, so let's just jump right into it. So today's a pretty good day, and I think you all have checked your portfolio and noticed that we haven't dropped too much. Things are looking pretty good. Now, we have gone down like a point and a half or so for our market cap, but we're still above 3 trillion. And Bitcoin holding strong, up 24 hours, 0.2%. Some have lagged out, and some have taken a little bit of their gains away, but not much. I mean, it's very even kilter across the board. And we talked about these, taking profits. I'm hoping everybody took profits, but I have to tell you that I messed up yesterday, and I didn't, even though I said I was going to. I just lost track of time, and I'm like, I'll get to it tomorrow. And now the one I was going to take profits on, because I've been buying, is SWE, and it's up 13%. So I guess it worked out for me. But make no mistake, just because things go up in a short amount of time doesn't mean they'll go up forever. So don't forget to take those profits. And then also, of course, the S&P 500, the traditional markets are doing pretty well. They're up 2% today. So everything's going good. But what I want to talk to you about is Visa 2.0. And I still feel and think that stablecoins are the killer use case. And it all comes down to Visa. Now, Visa, everybody uses it. It's on their debit or MasterCard. And I was talking to my brother this weekend. I was actually in my hometown this weekend visiting family. That's why we didn't have any videos on Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. And I was just talking to him about Bitcoin, and I kind of laid it out there about some different things. But I'm like, why don't you want to get into Bitcoin? I just kind of asked him out point blank. He's like, look, man, he goes, I was buying Visa back in 2008, 2009, 2010, and all the way to like 2015. He goes, I was just buying because I just figured everybody uses it. It's got real utility, unlike Bitcoin. I'm like, okay, you got me. I mean, there is utility, but I don't want to ram it down his throat. And, he did a good thing. I mean, he's essentially retired. He's not even in his 60s yet. And he was buying Visa when it was $15, $13, $12, $18, $20. And he was just essentially dollar cost averaging. And he did a great thing because it had utility and it worked. Now it's at 335. It actually topped out at 358 at one point. So he's just living off that. And when I think about it, that's what stablecoins are going to be. I know it's not that sexy, but it's going to be. I'm going to show you that in a second. But don't mistake Visa for just being some laggards and just watching everything pass by. Did you know that Visa tracks stablecoin transactions, and they have partnered up with some layer 2s and layer 1s in the past? I think it's still going strong for stablecoins because they know where the wind's blowing. They get it. And I linked this in the description. This is from Visa website, visaonchainanalytics.com. And you can see it's tracking stablecoin transactions. Did you know that there's been $2.8 trillion in 30 days of transaction volume? Let me say that again. $2.8 trillion, 30 days, transaction volume on stablecoins. And which ones are they tracking? These stables, USDC, Tether, PayPal, USDP, FDUSD. But don't make no mistakes, USDC and USDT are 91% of the whole transaction volume. And this is the blockchains that they're tracking. And I want you to memorize these. And if you don't memorize them, it's okay, because you just go to USDC and just check out exactly which protocols are being used for USDC and Tether. And they're all right there. It's the same thing that's being tracked over here. Ethereum, Tron, Solana, BSC, Avalanche, Arbitrum, Optimism, Polygon, Base, and CELO. So when I say this is Visa 2.0, I really do think it is. And who's going to benefit from that? Everybody, including Coinbase. And I'm going to read this article. We're going to talk about this. But this is where it comes down to in August. You got till August to figure this out. I think after that, things are going to take off. Here's why. So Coinbase will benefit from stablecoin boom. Stock has a buy. This is from investment bank Benchmark. And they rated Coinbase a buy, saying it's going to, their target is 252. Right now, Coinbase, the stock itself, is hovering around 202, 203. Correct me in the comments section, somewhere around there. So, 220. So if you're looking, 2 or 3. So if you're looking at something to buy, maybe that's something to diversify. I personally own a little bit of Coinbase stock. But this is what they said. They said, we believe most investors have yet to recognize or focus on the extent to which stablecoin and market structure legislation. Let me say that again. Stablecoin legislation. Market structure, legislation. There's two things happening right now. Could cause significant expansion in coins valuations because it'll cause significant expansion in what they can do, how it's actually run, and the framework behind it on top of what can be done with stablecoins. The bills, plural, could broadly reignite crypto market activity. And people saying, Rob, we already have a massive amount of activity. That's true. But they're telling you it's going to be to like a 5x, 10x. So we'll see. So from here, it kind of just echoes off from there. So coming down, Coinbase disclosed $910 million in full year stablecoin revenue for 2024, up 31% from a year prior, which doesn't surprise me because if we take a look at transactional volume as stable coins versus traditional payment, you can just see that it looks like stable coins are dwarfing Visa and MasterCard and American Express as opposed to stable coins. What does that mean? It gets even better. So from here, we go down to the last piece of it, the crux. And this is where it gets interesting because I didn't really see this coming, but it makes total sense. I should have. Wall Street titans like Bank of America have signaled that they will debut a stablecoin as soon as a framework, legislation framework from Congress, is signed into law. Remember, there's two laws going on. Stablecoins framework for the crypto industry, leading to potentially thousands of new competitors. Thousands of new competitors. So now the question is, well, Rob, if there's thousands of new competitors, which one do I get into? Do I get into Wall Street? Do I get into Visa? Do I get into blah, blah, blah? No. You don't care about the individual companies. You care about the rails of which it is built upon. And to do that, we already went over that. So here's all the chains. And I just showed you the different ones that Visa is tracking. So maybe take a harder look at these and see which ones you think could be it. And then, of course, if you can take a look at like DeFi Llama, you can also check out just how much transactional volume in stablecoins each one of these are doing. Now, we could probably cover that on a different video, but I'm telling you, these would be the ones that I would look at. And some people love Ethereum, some people hate it, some people love Tron and hate it, but you can't dismiss it because these are all the different ones that are coming in. So I would like to take a look at that. So on top of that, you would say to yourself, that's not a bad thing for stablecoins. Visa 2.0, real world utility. And this actually came down to what me and Guy were talking about today on NFA Live, because I'm an American. And in America, it's very easy to do all these things that we're just talking about. It's very easy to get a bank account, to interact with our centralized exchanges, move funds around. And because of that, I'm at a loss for people around the world of what they have to deal with. And I was talking to a guy and how that works out in the UK and in Dubai. I got to tell you, it was very difficult. It was a little bit more, not super difficult, but a little bit of a hindrance as to what he could do and pay for. So now I take a look at that, and that's the UK. What are we taking a look at like Central Europe, Southeast Asian countries, third world countries? What are we looking at? These are the types of things I think they can really take advantage. And oh yeah, every single stable coin out there, I think the one that might be backed by gold, is backed by the US dollar. So if you want the US dollar to be strong, which I know that the current administration is kind of flip-flopping on that part, I think that's why they would want this legislation to go through. And it's why you need to take a look at those layer one solutions and kind of go from there. So talking about all that, Coinbase is bound to make a killing on this. And it looks like they want this to happen. So why are they negatively impacting legislation? And this boggled my mind. Why America's biggest crypto company is trying to stop a pro-crypto bill from passing. Strange, right? Coinbase is asking lawmakers to pause on passing a standalone stablecoin bill. That makes no sense. We just talked about this, about how the stock will boom. And this was actually put out by Benchmark. So why would they be doing it? There's actually a pretty good reason. Here's why. And this first part is pretty boring. So in private meetings with lawmakers, Coinbase is attempting to prevent stablecoin bills from heading to floor votes. Why? Why? This is why. Congress is considering two major pieces of crypto legislation. Two, stablecoin-focused bill, that's one, and a market structure bill known as FIT 21. So there's two bills that they want to do. This would functionally legalize the rest of the industry. That'd be FIT 21. Congressional leadership has indicated it plans to pass stablecoin bills first. I like that. And market structure legislation shortly thereafter, with the goals of having both bills signed into law by August. Now, the wheels of justice move slow, and the wheels of Congress move even slower. So if they get this done by August, I will dive in that pool. I probably shouldn't have said that. But I don't think it's going to happen. But if it does, I mean, so much the better. So then again, why? So it comes down to Coinbase's partly states, if we only do stablecoin, they, Coinbase, think there might not be enough interest or appetite or time left to also do market structure. Coinbase concern is likely exacerbated by new lawsuits targeting the company for alleged securities violations. So look, if it goes down that path, fine. But either or is a huge win for us, and it'll drive adoption and allow us to get past the speed bumps that we've had on for years, thanks to Gary Gensler and Congress and the prior administration, which was not very crypto friendly. And the reason why I think they want this to go through first instead of stablecoins is because they just signed up or put in the paperwork, documentation for a banking license. Why is that such a big deal? It's because they know how much money they're going to make. And I didn't see this one coming either. Revoult, which was a bank account that I actually had before, doubles its profits to $1.3 billion on user growth. Where do they get it from? Mostly from crypto trading. Revolut doubles the profit to 1 billion pounds. Right now, it's like 1 pound is like $1.33 or something like that. Correct me in the comment section as far as dollars to pounds. Driven by crypto growth, 15 million new users. Wow. And a long-awaited UK banking license. This is why Coinbase is pushing for it. And wouldn't that be great if every other bank that's out there could connect and you could pay things and move funds around in stable coins just as easy as you do in whatever wallet that you're using. This is the future, and it's not that far away. So according to its annual report, Revolut, published on Thursday today, Revolut's profit soared from 438 million pounds in 2023. Revenue jumped 3.1 billion pounds from 1.8. Key contributor, stocks and digital asset trading. And another funny thing is that Kraken, not only does it do digital asset trading, but they just put in the documentation paperwork to start trading stocks. Isn't that amazing? The segment generated 506 million pounds in revenue, nearly 4 times higher than in 2023, as crypto trading activity rebounded. So this is looking good. Everything is kind of moving in the right direction. And there's also one more key feature, tokenization. I'm not going to get into this one too big because we talked about tokenization, and it seems like we've been talking about this for like 2 or 3 years, and it's just been trials after trial after trial. But I think it's interesting. The U.S. SEC and El Salvador are working together to explore tokenization with cross-border trials. The United States Securities and Exchange Commission and El Salvador's regulatory agency to explore tokenization. That is weird. So it's going to be 2 pilots. The first pilot involves a U.S. real estate broker working with a Salvadoran tokenization company. The plan would allow the U.S. firm to acquire and hold tokenized local property ownership. Wouldn't that be interesting? You could invest into El Salvador without physically moving down there. You could tokenize real estate, and you could do it from wherever you wanted to. Now, some people say, well, that's the same thing as a real estate investment trust. Yeah, that may be true, but how many different third world countries are allowing you to do an REIT when you can just tokenize everything? And that, I think, is the bigger play. Also, second project examines token-based fundraising for a small business in partnership with a U.S. licensed broker. Both initiatives are designed to provide the SEC with insight into token issuance, digital asset custody, broker-dealer roles, and offering structures. And again, the other thing you want to take a look at is what are the rails being built on for the tokenization of assets. You can see that also. You can see that in Ethereum. You can see that on layer 2s, such as Arbitrum, Optimism, Base, Ondo, Ethereum-based, and then also, I believe, in Solana. So if you're taking a look at which one's going to be the winners, I don't know, but I can tell you which one the rails are built on, the same type of rails that are being built on for stablecoins. So definitely take a look at that. There is one downside, though, to real estate. And if they do this, I'm not really going to be too excited. I'm in Texas right now. Great state, but they do stupid things. So this is from Brian Harrison. I believe he's in Congress, Texas State Representative. And apparently, the Texas House of Representatives just voted to make property taxes $3 billion higher to create a Texas National Institute of Health to study healthcare. That is the dumbest thing that I could think of to do with taxpayer money. Let's make a National Institute of Health in one of our states. I mean, God bless you. I mean, you're going to do some great things and try to cure cancer, which we've been running after for the last 50 years, and we haven't really had any good progress as far as like mortality rates as sickness keeps going up. But Texas thinks they're going to do it. That sounds good. And that's $3 billion more. So if you want to invest into real estate, that's the thing that sucks about real estate is taxes. If they do something like that, I'm out. Anyhow, that's just my little soapbox. I'll step off. And then lastly, Solana. I thought it was interesting because we've been talking a lot about Bitcoin, but I think there's going to be a little bit of a pivot at some point this year for altcoins. And Solana, and I know some people hate it, some people love it. I own it. I own a lot of different altcoins. I just thought this was interesting. And when I read this, think about your altcoin and if they're doing stuff like this. Sol Strategies raises $500 million in convertible notes to buy Solana tokens. What are they doing with that? Here it is. So a spokesperson for Solana Strategy said the company is focused on building institutional-grade infrastructure for Solana rather than reacting to short-term price volatility. Interesting. The yield generated from staking will accrue back to both Sol Strategies and ATW partners. Sol Strategies is a publicly traded company on the Canadian Securities Exchange, and its share price has risen 25% on the day. I got to tell you, I don't know if your altcoin is doing that, but that's a pretty strong showing for Solana. We'll see how it all works out. And then lastly, some good news. This guy's going to get sentenced on May 8th. So that is Alex Mashinsky from Celsius. He's already pled guilty. So we'll be following this story as he gets put behind bars on May 8th. And it couldn't have come to a better person. And that's it for today. So look, if you like today's video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. What we talk about is time sensitive. Now we'll go over a little Q&A and answer all your questions the best of my abilities. If you stick around, I'm going to talk about some nonsense that Fidelity Digital Assets put out, but that's just if you want to stick around. Stupid stuff. Anyhow, here we are. Who is winning? I think, there's one thing I didn't mention about those stablecoins is, Tether, Paolo Ardoino, the CEO of Tether, came out on Scott Melker's show, The Wolf of Wall Street, and he said that we're going to be putting Tether onto the rails that is Bitcoin as a settlement layer. So just like Ethereum is a settlement layer, because we know we can't use Bitcoin for transactions and things like that, it's ridiculous. But if we can use it for the transaction, for the settlement layer, and we have like a layer 2 on top, wouldn't that be the greatest thing, right? And Bitcoin is the most secure blockchain cryptocurrency that we have right now. So I like that. And then also, if you take a look at that, there's also layer 2s coming up, one of those being Cardano. So I know some people say, Rob talks about Solana, so he hates everything else. Well, there's your good point for Cardano and Bitcoin and everything else. Yeah, so who is winning? We are. All we had to do was just stick around and not sell. Pretty amazing. Coinbase needs a pivot. Rusty peas. 1 pound equals 5,608,000 tomato coins. Hey, could have been big. Could have been big. ADA for L2 Bitcoin. Yep, Marty. That's, again, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, I think it was. Maybe 7 days ago. But yeah, it was a CEO of Tether said, yeah, we're going to use the rails of Bitcoin is it Lightning? But, it's kind of like a layer 2 for the transactions that are our stable coins. I thought it was great. We can have Bitcoin, everything about it. Who's tired? Who's tired of all the winning? I got to tell you, I'm feeling pretty good. Lord Smith says exploits on layer 2. That's true. Hello. 312 here for the gossip, the chisme, as we call it. But, yeah. Not here for gossip. Soon. Rob's gray hair is faster than mine. It's going pretty fast, man. It's going pretty fast. Rob, look up the Soul phone release, please. I don't know when it's going to be. It's going to be sometime between tomorrow and 2028. Guarantee that for a fact. Did you know in India, we're not allowed to offset loss in crypto? It's unprofitable. Wow. And this is what I'm talking about. Because again, Shari, I don't do any transactions in India anymore. I used to do some drop shipping on Amazon back in the day. And great manufacturers over there in India. Greatest manufacturers. And but it was a pain in the ass to pay you guys. Just to move money around. But that's weird. We're not allowed to offset losses. So you guys don't have any deductions. You don't have any tax loss harvesting. So you just get screwed. Hey, here's a question. Do you guys have long-term and or short-term capital gains? Or you're like Germany, where if you hold it for a year, you have no capital gains? That'd be interesting. Chris says, supposedly some of this year is a Solana seeker. This guy's hilarious. We're all hilarious. Did you hear about the Fed dropping reporting and compliance requirements for banks? Sounds like a solid move. Yeah, sounds like a good move. We don't need the banks to be reporting all the shenanigans that they're doing and all their fractional reserve lending. And yeah, maybe it'll... Jeez, that sounds bad. That sounds bad. You know what's great about an audit? There's an audit every 10 minutes on Bitcoin. And you can look it up right now to see how much there actually is. You can see where it is. It's pretty great. But yeah, banks, they don't have to do that anymore. Well, Dick, I mean, we have to understand that the Fed, I wonder just how much oversight they have with the Fed and what kind of approvals they need to do that, and when it actually goes into effect, or this is being talked about, or it's actually already done. GV says, these are the times to load up on your favorite top 3 coins. Yeah, it's kind of turning out that way. And we have to take a look at which ones are rallying and which ones are getting some pretty good partnerships and which ones are fading. That'll kind of tell you, because I've been here since 2017. I can tell you that the ones that ripped in 2017, I had no idea what they were going to be. I just got into Bitcoin at that point, and Dogecoin was a joke, but that went to like the top 10. And I mean, Cardano was something goofy, and that did pretty fantastic. Ethereum was always there. XRP did pretty good. There was some few. And then in 2021, you thought those same ones would rip, and they did, but nothing like, say, like an Avalanche or like a Solana or stuff like that. Those things really went up. And it's kind of like there's like a darling of the cycle. And I think now we're going to find out which one the darling of the cycle is. Is it going to be Solana again? Historically speaking, it doesn't happen like that. Usually there's a new prince, a new anointed one that comes out of nowhere. And to me, I think that could be Sui, or it could be Aptos, could be a whole host of different ones. I don't know. So it's going to be interesting. TG says, Rob, what's your take plan if we get a Carrington-like event or a polar magnetic flip? First of all, I saw that movie. It was a doomsday movie, and everything pretty much goes to pot, which can fry up all circuits. Doesn't it cause massive tidal waves and unbelievable destruction in every nation state in the globe? If that happens, I don't know if I'm going to have a channel. I don't know if I'm going to have electricity, which if you're in Puerto Rico is not a big deal because you don't have electricity anyhow. What do y'all think will happen to the crypto industry? I think if we're not in like Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, I think as long as we have electricity, we'll be okay, but I think it'll be a pretty bad thing. So I'll just leave it at that. And then people would say, what about quantum computing? And what's going to happen there? I'm like, look, if quantum computing comes in, it's not just Bitcoin we have to worry about. If it does become quantum resistant, we have to think about all the different data points and things that are out there that the quantum computers can hack. All your bank accounts are gone, that's for sure, because they can hack those pretty easily. All your sensitive data, all your browser history, everything that you have pretty much is open for everybody. So I think there's bigger things at foot. Rob is being sarcastic. I don't know which ones. I'm sarcastic a lot, man. Sweet. The banks don't have to report to the Fed for Bitcoin. I think crypto. Pretty sure I remember that right. All right. Sounds good. Pokemon partnership coming? Really? And sweet. We'll find out. Yeah, as far as like utility, Fartcoin, that's what separates Fartcoin apart from all the other meme coins. It's the utility. It's the way that they've integrated with the National Institute of Health and the World Economic Forum. Fartcoin really has, I just thought it was a meme coin. It's crazy. And then all of a sudden I'm like, really? With Google? Fartcoin and Google? And they're going to be a validator? I'm just kidding. It's a stupid meme coin that just does a ton of money and no one knows why. What I know is that I don't know. That's true, Brian. Shout out to EOS. That's pretty good. Mini. GV says been around since 2011, 2012. Now that's a real OG. All right. That Pokemon collab news are going to send Sui up. Yeah, it's a good thing I'm buying it. We'll find out. And Chris says we get fried from lack of protection atmosphere, so Bitcoin least of our worries the bull slip. Exactly. Yeah, I think there was a movie called 2021 or something like that. Thank God Sui is coming back. Everybody's a big Sui lover, I guess, here. For NFA Live, I'd love to see a discussion of the top altcoins of yesteryear and where they are today, e.g., is it dead yet? Well, we could do that, but Mr. Bitcoin Dominance probably wouldn't. Well, no, that's not true. I think Ben would get into it because he used to be big into altcoins. So I guess he could speak to, because that's the whole thing of why he's being a Bitcoin Dominance, because he got wrecked on his altcoin investments from 2017 to 2021. So yeah, I mean, I need quantum computing in my taxes. No, all you need is CoinLedger. Guys, if you guys ask for an extension, don't forget CoinLedger, great product. Been using it for 4 years now. Yeah, look at that. Did Bobby load up on CEP stock today for those 200% gains? So this was, correct me if I'm wrong, this is Jack Mallers. And the company is Bitcoin backed by Cantor Fitzgerald, which, Howard Lutnick was the former CEO and now is the Commerce Secretary. And they're backing Jack Mallers. And looks like it went ballistic. And I think it got shut down twice because there was so much trading activity. And yeah, I mean, if you're looking for companies that are Bitcoin backed, it's MicroStrategy and then CEP. I think they got shut down twice because there was so much trading activity. Interesting. So people, they might have missed out on MicroStrategy. They're not going to miss out on this one. I did not get into that. Oh, wow. Partnership with Pokemon and Sui. Wow. That's crazy. That's a good one. That was a good one. For those of you not reading the screen and are just listening as a podcast, Marty on the show in the comments section, who is a moderator, states, what's the gas fee on Fartcoin? That was a good one. Mutants with special powers. Sideways markets are so exciting. They go in waves. Mr. Bitcoin Dominance. I missed NFA Live. It was a good one. It was always good. Digital asset DJ says Bitcoin maxi next cycle. I think a lot of us, you become more of a Bitcoin maxi. If you notice, like my channel beforehand was a lot of altcoins, but as we've gone through this tidal wave of destruction, you've seen that I've talked more and more and more about Bitcoin because it's like one of the safer. It's the safest play in the most volatile asset class, and it worked out pretty well. Rob, you are the father. I don't think that's true. Oh, man. Sick of people talking about on Fartcoin. Tokenizing farts is a big deal. When cute hippo coin? I don't know. Well, everybody, like to see that the chats were good today. Thank you for the comedy relief. It's always great. But that is it for today. I'm going to be talking to Wes tomorrow from Smart Money Tracking, see where he's getting all of his information from to short and long the market and have these incredible yield and gains, and it'll be interesting. So I'll probably do a recorded version unless I can get him to do it live. Then we can just ask him questions. Maybe that'll just do that. Anyhow, that's it for today. Thanks so much, everybody. I appreciate you stopping by, and I will see you guys on the next one. Adios.